Okay, this is the next video in the Granny Ripple. We're going to begin row 2. If you found this video before you found the beginning of it, I will put a link in the sidebar to get to the first video or in the annotations. But for row 2, we chain 3, and I did that in the last video. Now we're going to skip the next shell. That's all 3 of these stitches. Now we're going to shell in the chain 1 space and chain 1 3 times. So yarn over, go right into that chain 1 space. This is where it's like the granny square. We make 3 stitches in each space. So this is the part where the pattern is easy. You chain 1 and then you skip the next shell and you make 3 stitches or 1 shell in the next chain 1 space. And I'm going to go fast. We covered how to form these stitches in the previous video. If you need to pause it to catch up, go ahead and pause and then catch up with us. If I'm going too slow for you, then just wait for us at the end or go to the next video. Okay. So I shelled in the chain 1 space and chain 1 3 times. So you should have 3 shells and then there'll be a chain 1. Now we're going to shell chain 3 shell. That's our corner space, like in a granny square. That's the peak of our mountaintop. So we're going to make a shell or 3 double crochet. Chain 3 and 3 double crochet. And by now you probably figured out what we're going to do next. We're going to chain 1, shell in the next chain 1 space 2 times. That's once. And that's twice. So you can see where it's starting to look like a granny. When you look up here, it's like the corner of a granny square. If you cover that up, that looks like there's a granny square under my hand. But it's really a ripple. Okay. Now we're going to chain 1, cluster in the next chain 1 space. Next, so chain 1. Remember, our cluster is yarn over, insert your hook, draw up a loop, draw through 2, leave 2 on the hook, yarn over, insert the hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, 3 on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook, draw up a loop, draw through 2, 4 stitches on your 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, draw through all 4. Then we're going to skip the cluster stitches, and then we're going to work into the next chain 1 space. We don't chain 1 between our clusters. We just go ahead and make our next cluster stitch. And we chain 1. And I'm going to do my finger blocking again. Just pull on this loop down here. When we do our border, it'll all straighten out. Okay, so we've done that. Now we're at the next parentheses. Chain 1, shell in next chain space 2 times. So I've chained my 1 already. I'm going to shell in the next chain space Okay, and this is an example from when I was going over reading patterns. You pay attention to your abbreviations. All right, let me show you that real quick. A little detour on our crochet along. Okay, chain 1, shell, and next chain 1 space 2 times. Okay, if this parentheses was here instead of here, it would be chain 1, and then you shell in the next chain 1 space 2 times. That would be 2 shells in 1 space if it was written like that. But it's not written like that. You pay attention to what's in the brackets. You chain 1 and shell in the next chain 1 space. And then you do that 2 times. Is that as clear as mud? Less confusing, or did I just make you more confused? I don't know. All right. So, well, anyway, we've done that. Now we chain 1 and repeat from star across 5 more times, just like we did for row 1. So you chain 1 and you finish your peak of the mountain, your mountain top, the crest, the summit. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this all the way across, following the pattern. Don't forget to not chain between the 2 clusters and chain 1 before and after each cluster. So that on each slope you'll have equal to 3 shells and 1 cluster. And that way you can tell if you're doing it right. So I will come back and I will finish this round in the next video, or row rather, excuse me.